Hello and welcome to the return of TV POV. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Jen.
And we are back ready to go for the fall TV season. First, before we get into the news and what we're looking forward to, we have a big announcement. We are launching our website specifically for the web series. So from now on, you'll be able to catch us on watchtvpov.com. And we are going to have a new episode up for you every Thursday. Plus, we're going to have
some daily video content as well, segments that are similar to stuff we do on the show, but just snippets every day, and that'll evolve as we go, and we'll share some more details at the end of the episode. But the point is, there'll be fun new little video clips to check out every day on the website, so you don't just have to come on Thursdays. You can go every day.
Let's get into the news headlines. A lot going on going into this month.
Absolutely. So AMC has officially ordered the companion pilot to the Walking Dead series that they were talking about last spring, which is a big deal, obviously, since Walking Dead is pretty much the biggest thing to happen to cable ever of all time, sort of, maybe? Recently?
It's definitely the biggest thing that AMC has at the moment.
It's huge. Yeah, definitely huge. So the companion pilot takes place in the same world and in the same zombie apocalypse, but it's going to follow a different cast of characters struggling with the same issues somewhere else in the world. I don't think we know exactly where that's going to be yet. All of the people who are sort of involved with the original Walking Dead series were helping out on the pilot, including Robert Kirkman, the comic book creator. So there's good talent behind it, but apparently it just came out of that's the number one question that people who watch The Walking Dead wanted to know was, what's happening? What are other people dealing with elsewhere? Because we know in this part of the world what Rick and company have been doing, but there's got to be these other groups and we don't know what's going on with them.
Definitely. I'm curious to see how it's affecting other parts of the country. Maybe a larger city versus, like, I know Atlanta is a big city, but a potentially huge city, like maybe in LA or
New York.
That could be cool. Chicago.
Yeah. So, I'd like to see like zombie Europe, but I don't think that's what we're getting.
Yeah.
But I would like to see zombie Europe. So zombie with some upper class accents. I think would be good. What I'm interested to see, obviously Robert Kirkman is involved. I think it'll be interesting though because the source material isn't there, even though he is involved. It's not, the original Walking Dead series was obviously based on the comic books and the characters that he had spent years creating. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about forming new characters without that same source material. But obviously, I would say it's worth checking out.
I think so. I'm curious enough about what's going on in the rest of the world. Outside of the little dictatorship there. Sci-Fi announced another mini-series. They seem to be doing a lot of mini-series lately. They've got Ascension coming up this fall, but they ordered, based on the Arthur C. Clarke novel called Childhood's End. It's going to be a 6-episode miniseries, and it's about a peaceful alien invasion, but in creating a utopia, everyone's kind of drive and creative forces and everything are destroyed in the process. So it's kind of a little bit like Pleasantville gone sci-fi.
Yeah. I haven't read the book, so I don't know.
Neither have I. I actually haven't. I know who Arthur C. Clarke is, but I've never heard of this specific book.
No, and it sounds like it's just kind of, aliens take over. They create order and perfection, and maybe creepy alien Stepford wives-ishness is not what they will discover is the best thing, because maybe humanity's flaws are more important than alien perfection. I'm guessing is somewhere in there. But you're right, Sci-Fi, a lot of miniseries. They know that they're making a very, very strong push to continue building more original dramatic content, and so perhaps miniseries are a good way to get as many new things out there. And it could be an Under the Dome situation where, let's say it's a miniseries, and if the ratings are there, it becomes a full series.
I mean, one of their most successful miniseries turned into a full series, which was Battlestar Galactica.
Right.
That started off as, I believe it was a 2-part miniseries.
I just rewatched that. It's another story for another day, but But yes, there was some Game of Thrones news that came out just late last week, which everyone's talking about, which is that Bran and Hodor are not going to be in season 5 at all. Which might surprise some people because, you know, Bran is one of the original Stark children.
Yeah.
And so even though he wasn't featured heavily in season 4, he's considered to sort of be a main pivotal point of the story. I don't think it will surprise a lot of book readers because, you know, I don't want to give away too much, but it's, I think they're running into the issue where there may not be enough storyline for Bran, and thus Hodor, who's pretty much just follows Bran around.
Yeah.
To build new content. Maybe they need a season to regroup and find out what they're gonna do, or maybe George C. Martin just needs to write faster. I think maybe
George R.
George R. Arthur C. Clarke. That's where that came from. George R. Martin needs to write faster.
Well, when I heard the news, I just figured they're giving time for the other storylines to catch up to where they are because they've gotten kind of further ahead than where everything is.
Yes.
So it's just kind of there's so many characters in this world, and I guess, you know, introducing Dorne, which is coming up in the new season, that's like a whole other group of people that they're going to be bringing in. So you have to kind of balance everything out.
I will miss the Hodor jokes. I will not necessarily miss Bran. I'm not a Bran fan. Bran fan 3000. I'm not a Bran fan. Wow, 90s pop reference. Double points if you comment and get that.
So we've got from Fox that they're considering a TV series based on the Tom Cruise film Minority Report, which is kind of a sequel to what happened, but takes place 10 years later. And there's a precog who's trying to live a normal life, but still keeps being haunted by visions of the future. So I remember enjoying Minority Report, but not enough that it stuck with me or I ever watched it again. So
mildly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, it was one of those ones like in the moment. It was enjoyable and it was an interesting concept. What I think is most remarkable is some of the things in that movie that current technology kind of feel like that world, like with the touch screens and bringing everything all together.
That was such a big deal when that came out. You were like, Minority Report touch screens, and now it's like, whatever, they have those in Hawaii.
Exactly.
But it does seem to lend itself well to a series. I think the concept seems to lend itself well. There's a lot of there's an interesting world to mine. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise won't be in it, so excellent.
Fox being involved kind of makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Because their last foray into, you know, the sci-fi technology, Almost Human, didn't work out. Episodes aired out of order.
Yes.
So
they're known for that.
Episodes out of order. So I don't know. I'm intrigued, but I'm not very optimistic about it.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Sci-Fi has also decided to air the pilot for Full Moon.
Ooh, that trailer is awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer. I should check that out.
It's kind of cool.
I remember hearing that they decided not to pick it up to series. This is a Brian Fuller project, which is always exciting. But they have decided to air it as a TV mini movie. So maybe they are kind of testing the waters again, saying we're not giving it a series pickup. But hey, if a bunch of people watch this mini movie, maybe we'll pick that up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
The trailer, it's available online, and it's kind of neat. There's these two guys on the moon, and just not to give too much away, I'm sure this happens in the first few minutes.
Yeah.
These two guys are on the moon, and they kind of insinuate that the moon landing was staged. But at the same time, they're on the moon, they're trying to mine its resources, and the ground kind of falls out from underneath their feet.
Oh wow!
So it's an interesting little premise, and at the very least, it should be an entertaining movie. Superheroes seem to be all over television at the moment, and the next project that's in development of all projects is Supergirl. So I know that WB back in the day tried to spin off Supergirl from Smallville. Didn't quite work out. Mm-hmm. Now we've got Greg Berlanti's production company developing this alongside Ali Adler, who worked on Chuck and also worked with him on No Ordinary Family. So Supergirl wouldn't be my first pick for her own series, but Berlanti's done really well with Arrow, and what I've seen of Flash so far is pretty impressive. So, this could work.
In the realm of the absolutely bizarre, the absolute weirdest TV development news that I've heard in a very long time, Fox is developing a 6-hour miniseries based on a Carrie Underwood song called Two Black Cadillacs. A song which I can't imagine is any longer than 4 minutes. So I really have no idea what the content is that would make a 6-hour miniseries, but it's apparently sort of soap opera, very intense love triangle. I've not heard this song. I don't know.
No, Carrie Underwood. She was one of the karaoke contest winners, right?
Oh, I'm not that against
Okay.
it. I don't, but
I couldn't remember what show it was that she'd been on.
Carrie Underwood's great. It's just very successful. Are we running out of material that we're now developing things based on songs? That's very strange. Anyway, it's I think they said it's about 2 women in this love triangle who are scorned by the same man, and the tagline they put in the press release was "Hell hath no fury like 2 women scorned," which is not very original.
In one of our final news, main news tidbits, Hemlock Grove, which is one of Netflix's originals, has announced they released the 2nd season over the summer. They have picked it up for a 3rd and final season, so they will be bringing it to a close. The storylines will be wrapping. I'm still on season 1. It's one of those shows that I've had a bit of trouble watching, but what I've seen I like. It's one of those ones that you have to be in a certain mood to enjoy. It's not as binge watchable as some of the other Netflix stuff. So and also kudos to them for knowing when to end a series. I can't say it enough. I'm always on board when a creative team decides to end a series on their own terms. I'm not sure if that's the case, or that a network has enough foresight, or in this case Netflix has enough foresight to say, you know what, we probably have this many more stories to tell, let's end it on a high.
I think that's one of the actual good things to come out of the rise of content producers like Netflix, is that the business model is different, which means that they're not obsessed with keeping it going forever. I think that I get the sense that cable has always been a little bit more willing, and Netflix probably even more so, to say, it's okay, we had 3 successful seasons, that's enough. We don't need, we're not in it for the syndication. We don't need to keep, driving this into the ground. So I think that's an excellent trend. Yeah, for sure.
Then we've got some casting tidbits. I was very, very excited since I went to Comic-Con back in July, and they were teased. They announced that Ra's al Ghul was going to be the big bad on Arrow. I was looking for who they were going to put in that role. And about a month ago, there was a rumor that they had cast Oded Fehr, but there were no official reports, and it turns out that was not true. Although it would have been awesome, because Oded Fehr is amazing. They've cast Matt Nable, who is apparently an Australian actor. And so he'll be playing the villainous Ra's al Ghul in the upcoming 3rd season of Arrow, which I can't wait for.
That's really cool. My favorite piece of casting news personally was Dominic Purcell was cast in The Flash as Heatwave. He's going to appear in episode 8 or 9 or somewhere around there, which is interesting, particularly because previously Wentworth Miller was cast as Captain Cold, and apparently they are going to be meeting in one of the later episodes. Wentworth Miller is going to appear first, Dominic Purcell later, and I think they're going to be meeting. So it's a Prison Break reunion.
Didn't they also mention that
the Schofield brothers?
That is awesome, but didn't they also mention that it was that the Clockmaker from Arrow was going to be popping up on the Flash? So does that mean Robert Knepper will also be on?
I don't know. I don't think the Clockmaker will be meeting up with them, but yes, you've got now 3 Prison Break albums on the Flash, so that's kind of cool.
They could have had a 4th, but he got cast on Gotham instead.
Yeah, and there's always tons of casting news every week, and I think we get overwhelmed even trying to report it all. So I think it's fun to just sort of point out our favorites from the week, and that was mine, and that was yours. So
yeah,
there you go.
Why we're all here is because fall TV, it's actually already started this week.
Yep.
A couple of shows have already come back. Boardwalk Empire, Sons of Anarchy, and then next week things really kick into high gear. Mm-hmm. So we thought we'd tell you what we're most excited about for the upcoming TV season. We really won't be getting into mid-season replacements. We're going to be talking about the ones that are starting this fall. Mm-hmm. So why don't you kick us off?
So starting off with some notable dramas that everyone's sort of talking about that we have high hopes for. Gotham, which, as most people already know, is the story of Gotham City, the villains who created it, and the rise of Batman as a child. We don't see him as Batman, but it's kind of, he's in it as a child, and it's Commissioner Gordon who is the hero, dealing with Gotham,
and not a commissioner yet.
No, he's just a regular role.
Yeah. So the story of Gotham's told basically from Jim Gordon's perspective, but also seeing, and I've seen the pilot and it's phenomenal, and I can't remember his name right now, but the guy playing Penguin is fantastic.
He's got the perfect nose for
but
that.
he's got the manner, like he's... Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see more. I'm really, really excited to see more of that. Also, a really, really interesting note, there was a report released earlier today, and Gotham is the most talked about of the new series online.
Doesn't surprise me.
It has the most buzz going into this TV season.
Doesn't surprise me. It's any kind of Batman related story is still very popular. It's dark. It's got really good reviews. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me that it's one of the most anticipated. I would expect that it will do well. Yeah.
And then we've got one of the Amazon pickups called Transparent, which I remember hearing about back when they were testing out the pilots.
Yeah.
And then forgot about it until you brought it up. And this one's about it stars Jeffrey Tambor, that you'll know from probably every single great comedy ever, but most especially from Arrested Development. Yes. I will forever remember him from Three's Company and stuff when I was a child, but I'm dating myself. So they've ordered that one to a full series, and that'll be coming at the end of September.
Yeah, and it's going to be binge watchable, which wasn't something Amazon started off doing, but they've talked about doing it now because it's worked so well for Netflix. So it is in fact going to be, all episodes are going to be available on September 26th.
Perfect. And the other one that I'm really, really looking forward to this October is The Affair.
The Affair, yes.
Which just seems so melodramatic and intense.
Yeah.
But it's got an awesome cast.
Yeah, it's a Showtime series that looks at an extramarital affair from the point of view of the two people having the affair and their respective spouses. Mm-hmm. The fact that one of their respective spouses is Joshua Jackson does not hurt.
Dominic West being the other spouse is kind of awesome.
Yeah, he's one of the guys having the affair. I think Dominic West is having an affair with an actress. I don't know. He's not having an affair with an actress. He's having an affair with a character.
Ruth Wilson's character?
Yes,
okay.
I know her that as well.
Yeah.
And then Moira Turney is Dominic West's wife, and Joshua Jackson is Ruth Wilson's husband. So it's a very common occurrence and a simple occurrence, an affair. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of personal drama there, so I think Showtime will do a really good job mining that.
I'm looking forward to, because Showtime kind of got, I don't want to say they were stuck in a rut, but they seem to be, it was Californication and episodes and, House of Lies that are all these shows about, people with questionable motives and ethics and morals, but in a heightened sense,
a dramatically almost ridiculous,
over the top, humorous way. Nurse Jackie.
Yeah.
But to take that same type of character that Showtime really seems to excel at, but to take it into a more real, a more just a more serious, more real take on it, I think is going to be pretty interesting.
And we also have Constantine on NBC, which is another it's another superhero comic book series that you may remember being a mildly successful Keanu Reeves movie in the early 2000s. I find it very hard to get excited about this. I know a lot of people are, but it is highly anticipated, and I am going to check it out. I'm having trouble just jumping on board the train, I think.
It's definitely a dark show, and it borders on what I would not consider watching in terms of the subject matter. I don't do well with demonic possessions.
Really? How did you do with Supernatural? There's a lot of demonic
I'm still on season 4.
Oh my god! See, after you've seen Supernatural, like, demonic possessions are like everywhere.
I saw the reworked pilot because they recast it. I was quite impressed with it. It's dark. John Constantine is a fantastic character. And the cast of it is fantastic. His kind of sidekick, second in command, Chaz, is pretty cool, and it's going to be interesting to learn about him. There's John Constantine's kind of guardian angel, who's played by Harold Perrineau.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So next up, we've got CW's Arrow spinoff, which is The Flash, which I am so excited about. I love the pilot. I know that when Barry Allen was introduced on Arrow, some people really liked it, and some people were like, they were kind of lukewarm. But
I was one of those people. I didn't get it. I don't really like the actor.
Grant Gustin is actually pretty cool in the role, and it's not just about him. The rest of the cast, Jesse Ho Martin is fantastic.
Yeah.
Tom Cavanaugh. It's all about Tom Cavanaugh for me. He is so good in the pilot, and I can't wait to see more of him. So that's definitely probably near the top of my list of.
I would imagine that's another one of the very highly anticipated ones out there, because it's sort of a backdoor pilot a little bit, and because it's been connected so heavily with Arrow, which is a very successful CW show. I'd be very surprised if that didn't do really well. We also have on the CW what my number one pick for the new season is, and that's having not seen it. Melissa and I were just discussing that she has seen it, and it seems like I might have chosen well. It's called Jane the Virgin, and it's about a religious, hardworking woman who gets artificially inseminated. And what makes that even a little more traumatic is that she is, in fact, a virgin. So she hasn't even experienced sex yet, and now she is about to give birth. So again, I haven't seen the pilot, but there's just something in that premise, and I hadn't even seen the trailer, to be honest, that said that feels like a little bit of old school WB with a little CW cheek thrown in there, and I expect very charming things out of this show.
The pilot is extremely charming and entertaining. The cast is great. The premise, while over the top, it works. It really works. And it was based on a successful telenovela.
Like Ugly Betty.
What I predict is this is going to be a show that's going to bring a completely new audience to the CW.
Yeah.
People who enjoy, kind of the fun dramedies. I'm curious to see how it does. I hope it does well, because I want to see what happens with her.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that you liked it, and I am super excited to see it myself. I think I'm going to wait until it airs.
I expected to hate it. I watched it with the full intention of hate watching. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, this is adorable.
Also coming to Sci-Fi this fall is Z Nation, which I don't think either of us know that much about, but it is about another zombie apocalypse, which is what makes it notable, because of course The Walking Dead has already done this so well.
Yeah.
And CW has an iZombie series coming out mid-season.
Yes.
So we're seeing more people attempting the zombie genre, as it were, which is, it's kind of hard to have a zombie genre.
Yeah.
Zombies are very one-note characters. It's the people around the zombies, of course, but this one is, seems very much like The Walking Dead, and apparently it's surviving humans find someone who is immune to the zombie virus, and they're trying to transport him to a camp so that they can try to figure out how to find a cure.
Okay.
And there's just a bunch of stuff that happens in between. That's all I know about it so far. I think it's worth noting because it's bold of sci-fi to go there, given the comparisons to The Walking Dead. And it'll be interesting to see if there's enough of a zombie audience in general that there's enough zombie love to go around to new series.
Yeah, and I mean, sci-fi does, there were some long-standing series that ended recently or will be ending, so I'm trying to find some of these new series with longevity. This one definitely could work.
If you had to pick out of that list what your number one notable drama that you're looking forward to watching just more than the first episode of, what would it be?
It's really hard to choose because there are 3.
Okay, so what are your
There are 3 that I would pick, which would be Gotham, The Flash, and Constantine.
So you're all about the superheroes.
Hello, predictable. But of those 3, I think that the one that I'm like number 1 most excited about would probably have to be The Flash.
Okay.
Based on Tom Cavanaugh's performance alone.
Really?
I think so. He is quite remarkable in it.
Okay.
I think he's pretty awesome in it.
Well, there you go.
So that one, but Gotham is a very, very close second. Yeah. And Constantine has so much promise. So,
but we both picked CW shows as our top picks, so that's interesting. I mean, I do have to give CW credit for coming up with some, I think, some pretty cool options this year. In the last couple of years, they've at least the premises have been really fascinating, even if it didn't always pan out like the Tomorrow People.
Yeah.
Their development slate has been getting so much better than the years it was all about Gossip Girl type stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of Gossip Girl, very soon we're going to be introducing some fun new segments, and before we end the episode, we want to tell you a little bit about those. The reason I mentioned Gossip Girl is because one of the recurring segments we're going to have, which will also play into those everyday extras that we mentioned at the top of the episode, is going to be what we're going to call, what was it that you referred to it as?
Where have you been all my life?
Okay, so what we'll do with those is we're going to look back at a series that we maybe didn't watch when it was on air, or didn't watch all of it, or didn't watch beyond a pilot, which is now available, on DVD or demand, and talk about how it, where had it been all my life? Why didn't I watch it when it was on?
Yeah.
And I'm teasing this right now. I think my first one is going to be Gossip Girl, because I watched that over the summer.
Yeah.
All of it.
We thought it would be fun to create some cute little segments that focus on our POVs in very specific, funny areas with some cute titles, because who doesn't like a good headline? So a couple that will tease you that will be coming up that we might do. We're going to rotate them and do a couple of them every week, so you'll have a couple to choose from. TV MVP, which is going to be our tribute to TV players that we think are really kicking ass, maybe that week or overall throughout the season, but just someone we want to note as a TV MVP. TV RIP, which will be our tribute to fallen TV characters. So when someone bites it, and we like them. If they bite it and we hate them, we'll probably just laugh.
Unless they bite it in a spectacular way.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if we'd had this going last season, and spoiler alert for anyone who isn't watching Game of Thrones, tune out right now. Joffrey would have been a perfect one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. So we're going to, TV RIP will be our tribute, whether it's positive or negative, I guess.
Yeah.
To a fallen TV character.
Negative if it's spectacularly done.
Yeah, for sure. Pass the tissue.
I.e. every episode of Parenthood this upcoming season.
I predict that there will be a lot of pass the tissue moments from Parenthood, but we thought that would be a cute little way for us to point out scenes, moments, or episodes that just had us sobbing like the girly girls that we all are deep inside. And then sort of the antithesis of that, Chuck the Remote, which is going to be our chance to get really pissed off at moments, scenes, episodes, again, that we just hated. It could be shows that we hate in general, that we're constantly hating, or it could be those really frustrating moments on a show that you love that really disappointed you and you just want to throw something at the TV, which would probably be most of the viewing audience for the finale of How I Met Your Mother. That would be an absolute chuck the remote moment. That's just an example.
Yeah.
And as Melissa mentioned, another one of the segments is the Where Have You Been All My Life? Because most of the stuff that we talk about on this show is new. It's on the air now, and we're updating you on current news and current shows. But we all like to go back and sort of watch things that we didn't get a chance to the first time around.
Yeah.
So we'll each do little segments talking about the stuff that we're watching from the past. Classic stuff, cult stuff, just stuff that we didn't get a chance to watch. And so one of the first segments that we'll post online right after this episode in the coming days, we're each going to do one of those to update you on what we've been watching during the summer. Melissa maybe spoiled hers. It might be Gossip Girl. Maybe she'll surprise you. And I've been watching a couple, so I haven't decided what mine's going to be just yet, but I have been catching up on some shows I really should have watched the first time around, for sure.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps our return, the return of TV POV.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And as we mentioned earlier, we have our own brand spanking new website. It is a work in progress, just to let you know. We will be working on it, but you can now find us at watchtvpov.com, and we will include all of our Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus information in the little post along with this video. Take care.
We will see you
Next week. Bye.